In our last assignment, we were building tables from equations. Now we're going to be building the graph from the table. And so in order to do that, uh, I've already given you the equation and the table that went with it. We actually could have even filled in the table ourselves, but that's not our focus on this one. We're just focused on building the graph. So I'm going to take the values from that table and put them into our graph over here. I'm going to do that by first grabbing my first pair of x and y coordinates, which is really what this is here. I have -5, 5 as an xy coordinate pair, and I'm going to go ahead and plot that point. So notice x is -5, which means go left 5, and then y is a +5, which means go up 5, and plot your first point there. And basically, that's all we're going to do, is we're just going to plot each of the points that you see there in the table. And so next up is -4, 4. So that means left 4 and up 4. Then -3, 3. And if I just keep going through my table there, I can go ahead and plot each of the points. Now, for our time being today, you're going to go ahead and just stop there. You're just going to plot the dots and call it good. But do be observing what the shape of the graph is, because it won't be long and we'll be starting to draw the curves through it. But that's not going to be what you're doing on this assignment today. You're just plotting the dots and getting used to that part so that we can then work on getting the curves in there at a later time. So to continue doing the same thing, I now have a new table. This one's a table of the y equals x squared values. And I again want to start plotting my points. And so my very first point that I have in my table here is -5, 25. But you'll notice that my graph only goes up to 10. It doesn't go up to 25. So what do I do with that? Well, I'm just not going to plot that point on the graphing grid then. That's what that means. And so then -4, 16. 16 still above 10. It's not going to fit. -3, 9. Okay, now that one fits. So I'm going to go ahead and plot the point here at -3, 9. And then that's the first one I plot. So we only have to plot the points that actually fit on our graphing grid. It doesn't change the fact that the other points still exist. It just changes whether we can actually display them. Okay, and then we're just going to continue going through and plotting each of the rest of the points. So the next one is -2, 4. And then we have -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, and 3, 9. Those are all of them that fit, because you'll notice the 416 and the 525 also are off my graphing grid. So those dots are all that I need to plot, and I'm done with that one. And finally, we go on to this next one, our exponential function, the y equals 2 to the power of x. I already have the table made here, but I now need to go ahead and plot those points. The first one I see there is the -2, 0.25. So that means go left 2 and go up all of 0.25. We're going up a decimal there. Be as precise as you can, but don't expect perfection because it is at a decimal. All right, then the next point that we plot is at -1 and 0.5. So that means go left 1 and up all of 0.5. Next up is 0, 1. That one should feel a little bit more comfortable because it's actually going on a grid line there. So it's actually going to be right at the intersection of some grid lines. So that's more what we're used to doing. Not a decimal, which is nice. In fact, none of the rest of these are going to be decimals. Like the next one's at 1, 2, then 2, 4, then 3, 8, and then 416 is off our graphing grid. It's too high because my graphing grid only goes up to 10. And if you look down the rest of the table, all of the rest of them have y values that are more than 10. So all of these points that I've plotted are all the points that I will be plotting for this particular problem, which means that this one now is done.